Hi, thank you for joining us today at Love Church.
You can keep up to date with all the latest on all our social media platforms.
Now, here's today's message.
Was given a special name. Theologians had to come up with a way of summarizing what happened on that first Christmas morning, and they came up with a word that's not a common word. You don't hear it in society today unless you're around the Bible at Christmas, and this is the word incarnation. Can you say that with me? Incarnation. And I'm going to explain to you what that means. Jeff was half right. I am going to preach shorter today, but for those of you that are not usually here, usually I go on for about 45 minutes. So shorter is about 35 minutes. So kids, bear with me. And I'm going to ask the kids at the end if they heard anything today that really helped them. But I want to start with a story. There was a pastor, I'm told this is a true story, and he was flying, he lived in America, so he was in an American state-to-state flight. And apparently in some state-to-state flights in America, you just buy a ticket and you worry about your seat later. So he got on this plane, apparently this is a true story, and he got on the plane, and on the plane it's any man for themselves, find your seat. And he's looking for a seat. And it's hard to find a seat because everything's so crammed, and eventually he sees something like this here. Somebody sat here, but there's nobody sat here. So he comes up to the lady and says, "Excuse me, is anybody sitting there?" And she looks at him and she says, "My husband." Well, the pastor looks at, there's nobody there. Maybe he's not boarded yet. Maybe he's not on the flight yet. Maybe he's in the loo. I'll keep looking around for another seat. It's hard to spot another seat. And he comes back to the lady again and says, "I'm sorry, did you say someone was sitting there?" And the woman smiled at him and said, "I told you that seat was my husband's seat." He said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm just trying to find a seat." She said, "Oh, let me explain. My husband passed away recently. And we traveled the world together for years. Once our kids were grown up, we could see all the countries we want to see. We traveled everywhere. I'm frightened of flying. But my husband passed away, but one of his last wishes was, you must keep going with our travel plans. You must see the places that we never got to see together." She said, "But I'm too scared to fly, so wherever I fly, I buy the seat beside me for my husband. And I just pretend he's there. And then I'm not so nervous when I'm flying on the plane." And the pastor thought, well, can I sit there? Can't I sit there? And this is what the woman said: "I know he's not really there, but believing he is there changes everything." And then she said something that caused the pastor to just stop and have an epiphany about the incarnation. This is what she said: "Pastor, if pretending my husband is in an empty seat beside me can help me stay calm, how much more should God's people remember that God himself is always with us and his seat is never empty?" See, this is the incarnation. God doesn't just visit you. God presences himself with you. That's why his name is Emmanuel, God with us. The space beside you is never vacant, even when it looks like nothing is there, because God is with us. And the Christmas story is about the birth of Jesus, but it's not only about the birth of Jesus, it's about the arrival of God's presence, his peace, and his purpose in his life. And so each message, if you missed last week's, you can catch up, unwraps a different aspect of that design gift. But here's the thing about Christmas: it's not quite the cozy story you've been told with mulled wine and candles. It's a collision. God invaded human history, and God invaded human history bringing a big sack of gifts with him, and a bottomless sack with a never-ending amount of gifts for everybody that would receive his gift. The bag was full of hope, presence, and purpose, and every gift in the bag that God brings is a gift that someone desperately needs. How many of you have a plastic box under your bed of gifts that you're going to try and recycle this year that you got last year or the year before? I do not need any more Lynx Africa. It's banned in our house. However, I don't mind a wee bottle of aftershave if it's not to his preference. But there are gifts that we get, and the thought behind them is kind, but the reality of them is rubbish. Not so with the gift of God. God doesn't need you to write a list like he's Santa and ask, what gifts will I give you at Christmas? God knows the perfect gift you need, the Christmas that you'll need it, the day that you'll need it, the moment that you'll need it, and has it prepared in advance. This is Christmas Unwrapped. You're never alone. God is with you. And this is how it's described in Luke chapter 2. I'm going to read 20 verses today because there's some important stuff in these verses. Here we go. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census would be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria. And everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger because there was no guest room available for them. And there were shepherds living out in fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You'll find a baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger." Suddenly a great company of the heavenly host appeared with the angel, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace to those on whom his favor rests." When the angel had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has told us about." So they hurried off and found Mary and Joseph and the baby who was lying in the manger. When they had seen him, they spread the word concerning what had been told them about this child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said to them. But Mary treasured all these things and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying, praising God for all the things they'd heard and seen, which were just as they had been told. I'm going to add one verse on from Matthew's account of the same events, verse 22. All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. The virgin will conceive, give birth to a son. They will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. Here is today's first very important fact. Luke is not telling us a once upon a time story here. Luke is recounting to us historically accurate facts that took place in the time he's just described. It starts off with an emperor. To be the first emperor of Rome was quite something, and his name was Caesar Augustus. And it says Caesar Augustus issued a decree. Well, Caesar Augustus was the adopted son and therefore the heir of Rome to a man you may have heard of called Julius Caesar. He was a real historically documented person. And then Luke goes on to say all of this happened when Quirinius was the governor of Syria. We have 2nd century historians that write about the 1st century, one called Tacitus, one called Josephus. There are others, and they mention this governor of Syria called Quirinius. These are real people and these are real stories. Even in archaeology, we have inscriptions of the time that mention these two names. And Jesus is born into this world that Augustus Caesar is living in. And that world, the entire Roman world, if you like, was the Mediterranean basin, which included Israel. It had been wrecked. Years of war, years of destruction, years of brutality, years of false gods and immorality had destroyed this place. And it's into that world that this baby, this Emmanuel, this God with us is born. And the very next century, we have a man named Justin Martyr who writes an account of those who he knew who had met the people described in the story. And he said this more than 100 years after the events described, you could still look up, go and find, and have in your hand the record of the same census that Luke mentions in the opening of his gospel. Now, according to law, Mary didn't have to go with Joseph for the census because it was a tax census and it was the men who were taxed. But it made sense for her to go with Joseph, probably for a number of practical reasons. I would imagine Nazareth would have been a bit of a hotbed of gossip, that this little girl in her teens seems to be growing. What's occurring there? They never saw any angels. They never got the memo. They didn't expect it to happen this way. So Caesar Augustus is ruling, demands this decree, declares this census, but what we discover is it was God that was in charge. He was using this Rome decree of a census to get Mary and Joseph exactly where he needed them to be at the exact point in time he needed them to be. You see, they were living in Nazareth, but the Messiah was to be born in Bethlehem. How do we know that? Well, 700 years prior to it happening, a prophet called Micah had prophesied the Messiah will come from Bethlehem Epaphras, from the line of David. Now, here's a news flash. There are over 300 prophecies in the Old Testament that are fulfilled in the life of Jesus in the New Testament. And these books are written centuries apart, in different parts of the country and by different people. How on earth could this be? Well, 1,000 years to 700 years before the birth of Jesus, we had 300 prophecies about what he would be, where he would be born, and what he would do. Then we flash forward into the late 60s, early 70s, and a mathematician by the name of Dr. Toner calculates in his book, Science Speaks, the likelihood of 300 prophecies being fulfilled in one man. And he eventually ends his book by stating, let's just cut the number down to numbers we can comprehend in our head. Let's just look at 8 prophecies. So he picks 8 prophecies. He will be from Nazareth. He will come out of Egypt, but he will be born in Bethlehem. He will die for his people. He takes these 8 prophecies and he calculates the likelihood of these 8 prophecies being filled in one man. And this was his calculation. The chances are 1 in a quadrillion. I don't actually know how much that is, but I've got a feeling that's not evens. That's not 50-50. In other words, it's 1 to the power of 10, 1 in 10 to the power of 17. Another, a 1 with 17, I don't know maths. 1 with 17 zeros after it. In other words, it's a fact. The chances of you coming to church and sitting in that chair this morning were better than the chances of all these prophecies being filled in Jesus. I remember being on the street one day evangelizing, and an atheist mocked me and laughed at me, and he said, Craig, I cannot believe in Christianity. Christians believe in a virgin giving birth. I said, mate, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. Atheists believe in the virgin birth of a universe. I only need to believe in the virgin birth of one guy. And then there are these shepherds, these men of little renown, not even allowed to give evidence in courts of law due to their low standing in society. And they're the first witnesses of an angel preaching the gospel for the first time. And they're the ones that are told where to find the Messiah in a manger, in a stable, in Bethlehem. This is the kind of God we serve, precious friends. To show that he respects no person over another, he reveals this grand mystery to the lowest of the low. First to the shepherds, then later to the highest of the high, the wise men, the one poor, the other rich, the one learned, the other unlearned, the one Jew, the one Gentile, one near, one far off. I've never been pregnant. But I know a few people that have. I have watched them in the final weeks of their birth struggle to get out of a chair, struggle to get up the stairs. I'm empathizing with you, ladies. I know it's not easy. You go to the toilet, you do the toilet, you get back to your seat, you need the toilet again. Mary has to travel 85 miles. She didn't have a people carrier. They didn't have transport. Some think she walked, some think she travelled on a donkey. We've wrote a song about it now, so we'll go with the donkey version. Bethlehem. Why there? Well, I've told you two reasons already. Number one, the Messiah was to come from the line of David. That's where David was born. When David was anointed king by Samuel, he lived in Bethlehem. Number two, I've already told you that Micah had prophesied 700 years before that the Messiah would come from Bethlehem. But Bethlehem was the center of the shepherding business. This was where that was based, primarily with a specific purpose. Shepherds in Bethlehem had the unique role of raising lambs that would become temple sacrifices. In other words, Jerusalem, which is just 5 minutes up the road, every time they slaughtered a lamb in the place of the people's sins to make atonement for the sins of the people, the lamb came from Bethlehem. What's Jesus' name? The Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. He comes out of Bethlehem. Now, mangers could sometimes be made of stone. Sometimes they could be made of wood. But it was not uncommon, although they were feeding troughs, it wasn't uncommon to find a vulnerable little newborn lamb being placed in a manger, wrapped in cloths to keep it warm, to keep it nourished, to keep it protected from predators, and to keep it safe. And here we find the first little human Lamb of God lying in the same place. It says there was no guest rooms available. The truth is, this was where Jesus was supposed to be born. A stable, a room on the side of a house. It could be added on like a wood extension, or it could be part of the house carved in stone behind the house. I'm going to go with stone, because I think it fits neatly with the character of God, that Jesus was born in a cave and buried in a cave, with 33 years of ministry in between. Some of your Bible translations use the phrase swaddling clothes. It's rags. It's strips of linen cloth. So he's born in a cave, he dies in a cave. He's wrapped in linen cloth as a newborn baby. He's wrapped in linen cloth as a dead man. There are lots of coincidences. The birth is witnessed by shepherds, men of no renown, no standing in society, and the empty tomb is witnessed first by women who could not testify to society, who had no rights in society either. In other words, the place of his birth, a stable, borrowed. The place of his death, a tomb owned by another man, borrowed. The bright star in the sky to signify his arrival was replaced by a sky as black as night when he died. Now, when did all this happen? Well, in AD 150, the same guy I mentioned earlier, Justin Martyr, could take people and show them the cave in Bethlehem that Jesus was said to have been born in. Later, about AD 330, when Constantine the Great converts to Christianity, he sends his mother and some delegates to Bethlehem to build a church over the cave that Jesus was said to have been born in. That church is now called the Church of the Nativity, and it is located in a pretty hostile part of the world at the moment. But as I say this today, it's been completely untouched, while the world around it has been completely devastated by the conflict between Israel and Hamas. These are the fields that the shepherds would have walked around. Hardly the green fields we know here in Scotland. It was rough, brutal terrain. And then I want to show you a picture of the cave as it's commemorated today. Inside the Church of the Nativity, there's said to be a little grotto that marks the spot where Jesus was born. And there it is. Roughly in that place, something happened that shapes and changes the world. So here's the big idea. The miracle of Christmas is that God came close. But the miracle of every Christmas is that God has stayed close. So the incarnation is God stepping into our world, our pain and our story. And the incarnation is the moment where God pulled on human skin and walked into our predicament, so that he could do something we couldn't do. Think about that. The author has stepped onto the stage as a character. The creator is now breathing the very air that he created in order that when he was born, he might be able to breathe. It's a staggering claim that Jesus wasn't just a messenger from heaven. He was heaven breaking into earth, love becoming flesh and bone to rescue the very people who rejected him. In other words, the incarnation is God saying, I won't save you from a distance, I'm going to save you right up close. I've got news for you. When you're in that dark alley on your own, you're not alone. When you're making that journey on your own, you're not alone. When you're lonely on those evenings where you've no one to talk to, you're not alone. God has stayed close. Do you want to know the secret of rewarding relationships, my precious friends? Have a rewarding relationship with your God who's come close, and view every relationship through that lens. Don't view your relationship with God through the lens of your relationship with other people, perhaps a father or a mother or a friend. No, you have to see God first. And by him, everything else can be seen. You still with me so far? So this is the first time anybody could worship God and look at him at the same time. You could worship him if you wanted to, but you couldn't see him. Even Moses, the great prophet, wasn't allowed to see him. But suddenly there's a baby in a manger, and the shepherds come, and the angels appear, and the guys begin to worship, and they're standing there going, I wish we'd invented video recorders. I wish we had invented Apple iPhones, because this is the first time anybody's ever seen the face of God and lived. And what did they see looking up at them? What so many people see when they look at God? Nothing of note. We look at how simple God makes it for us to see him, and we're disappointed. We want it to be contemplated. We want it to be complicated. We want it to be challenging. We want it somehow to require effort. And God lies in a manger, saying nothing. See, before God was a God-man, he was first a God-baby. There's a TikTok craze at the moment called Keep Christ in Christmas. Have you seen it? One guy on there, a chap called J. John, seemed to have started this campaign, and he said, if you take Christ out of Christmas, all you're left with is M&S. And as much as I enjoy M&S, it cannot give me what Christmas can give me. All right, I'm going to tell you 3 quick things about this story. You're doing so well, kids. I hope you're glad you came today. Number 1, God's presence came in humility, not power. How would you have organized it? Well, Dad, tomorrow I'm leaving heaven. I'm going to earth. I'm going to change a few things down there. I'm going to wear a silver suit that glitters. I'm going to wear 3-inch Cuban heels. I'm going to smoke a cigar. I'm going to have a crown. I'm going to arrive to a fanfare, the London Community Gospel Choir. Ta-da! I'm going to make sure nobody misses my humble arrival. The 99.999% of the people on the planet the day that Jesus arrived had no clue anything was happening anywhere. It was a birth of humble love. The Lord's first demonstration of how he would not lord it over his people or insist on special privileges. Philippians later tells us, in your relationship with each other, have the same mindset as Christ, who being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, being found in appearance of man. He humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. So many of these concepts are alien to us today. So let's imagine it's something different for a minute. Let's say the king of the cosmos steps onto the throne, not to a royal carpet, but to crawl into a burning building. Can you see it in your mind? He removes his crown. He wraps himself in the smoke and ashes of the people inside. Although he alone has the power to command every flame, he lets the flames consume him so that everybody else can walk out alive. This is what happened and what started in a manger. It was a birth of humility. You cannot look upon God and be proud in your heart. You must be humble in your heart. Second thing, his presence changes ordinary places into holy ground. God isn't in the distance, he's in the mess. Emmanuel means God with us, not God above us, not God somewhere. God is here. Christianity at Christmas is reminded that we get ourselves into so much of a mess and God is the only one that can sort it out. Christmas reminds us that the peace we're all searching for is actually a person, not a place. Christianity at Christmas reminds us that the hope we need is always available and has never been in short supply, but only if it's Christmas as God sees it, not as we unintentionally distort it. See, the best gift of Christmas are not presents, they're presents. Nothing can separate you from the love of God now. You can't even separate yourself. The good news is the God that has his eye on you constantly is a God that loves you with a zeal that never dims. Every time you sin over Christmas, the Lord looks at you through the lenses of the cross of Jesus Christ and says, I love them. This might not be the best for them, but I cannot change my love. I'm in covenant now. I've said I'll never leave, I'll never forsake, I'm not going anywhere. The Holy Spirit is not on a bungee rope. You're good one day, he comes, you're bad the next day, he leaves, you're good the bad day, he comes. Now your conscience might be all over the place, but God's love stays a constant in your life, no matter how you behave. No matter how you behave. Aren't you glad? Because we're all a bunch of idiots. We take advantage of the love of God and he allows us to. Third thing, Emmanuel means we will never be alone again. Not even the universe, flying at full force, could pry you from the hands of a God who refuses to let you go. He's got you. See, your happiest Christmases will never be about the presents you receive. It'll be about the presents that you enjoy. This is how I want to close today. Has it occurred to you to ask God what gift he wants this year? What's the gift that God wants this year? Now, your gifts are going to come wrapped in beautiful paper, or maybe if the guys wrap it, thrust into one of those cheap bags you get from the pound shop. might be wrapped in, tied in beautiful ribbon. It might be sealed with decorative tape. You know what God wants for Christmas this year? You. But you're wrapped up. I wonder what layers are covering the real you from the real Jesus this Christmas. Your chair just get uncomfortable? God wants to heal you, but he can only heal the real you. And so, like a kid with a cut on his finger that refuses to show mummy or daddy how severe the tiny little insignificant cut actually is, we need to allow God to unwrap the present this year so that he can bless the real us. Your Instagram life doesn't fool God. Your Facebook life doesn't fool God. If you want to heal, you want to be real. So here is the present that God wants this year. Instead of a brave face, how about a faith face? Will you come to God this year and say, Lord, all I have in my hand are these hurts. All I have in my heart are these wounds. Will you let the Lord unwrap you so that you start a new year with less layers? We're always a work in progress. So you don't have to fake perfection for God to show up. He's comfortable in chaos, but he cannot help but speak into chaos. God is not distant. He's with us in every situation, bringing light into our darkness. The incarnation is a cosmic plot twist. The God who commands galaxies chooses to be cradled in a feeding trough. The eternal Word just didn't speak life. He stepped into it, trading his throne for a human heartbeat and his infinity for infancy. And he does it so that he can unwrap you from the layers and layers of protection that you've built over your life all over the years. In other words, in Jesus, God becomes touchable. Not only can I see him, I can touch him. He crosses the universe to stand inside our darkness so that he can flick a switch from the inside and bring light. The incarnation is divinity bending low, but not to be worshipped, to lift you up. I was in a meeting a few years ago now, a staff meeting. The person leading the meeting said, "Why don't you open in prayer?" And the person opening the prayer, about 12 of us around the table, said, "Lord, we know you are always with us." And as he said that, someone, Siri, spoke up and said, "Go ahead, I'm listening." Go ahead. God's listening. And do you know what you're doing when you're telling God about your layers, about your burdens, about your weights? You're sharing stuff with him he's already aware of, but now that you want to talk about it, he can do something with it. Because the Christmas story is simply the wrapping paper around the greatest gift ever given, a Lord and a Savior whose name is Jesus. So here's your challenge over Christmas. Invite God into your real story. Not the one you curate or the one you give an impression of, but the one you actually live. If you're brave enough to do that, your Christmas will be exceptional. No matter what's under the tree, no matter who's around the table, no matter whether it snows or rains, probably rains. If Jesus reigns in Christmas, Christmas is the reason for the season.
We hope you have enjoyed today's message.
For more information on Love Church Scotland, please visit us at www.lovechurch.scot. Thanks for listening.